Family, what is going on, ADOS family? What's going on, Breaking Brown family? Look at this junk. Oh, I tell you, it's always something. That in volume is doing some stuff. It is always something out here in these streets. But listen, family, while I get my stuff together, let me just, so the volume isn't good on the left, on the right tonight. I don't know why it's always something. I'm not a tech person and stuff always keeps happening. So fam, listen. I get that fixed before next show. Then there was another tech problem right before this show, which was a problem. It was a lot, fam. It was a lot. And I'm turning down something right here now because I've been playing with all kind of stuff and we had to get this fixed. And I didn't even notice till we came on air that the thing had switched up on me. So you ain't got to tell me in the chat. I see it right now. Just calm down. Calm down. I know the techies are Yvette. It was coming out of the right. It's mono, Yvette. It's mono. I got it. Listen, we got to get down to business though. I ain't got time to play. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Yeah, the sound is always good when you're coming through the computer. It's when the people listen to the headphones that it'll come through one ear and not the other ear. So I'll get that fixed before next time. It's no biggie. Please hit the like button. Please hit the share button. Please, if you want to, you can go to subscribetobrown.com and add your email address or subscribe to the newsletter. Please, please, please. You can also go to donatebrown.com if you want to donate to the cause. And we do have lovely t-shirts for sale now. And I want to just say one thing about that. I want to say one thing about the t-shirts. It's at adosmerch.com, MERCH. But let me just say one thing. I've been online. I looked at my Obama article. I've been online 9 years and I've never sold a thing. I think that lets you know how much I have been opposed to selling things. The problem, though, becomes I look around and everybody else is selling things. And I really would like for this to be, in terms of the t-shirts, I would really like for, I love the fact that it has the ADOS hashtag because I want people to have a conversation. Like, what is that? What is that ADOS on your shirt? You know, what does that mean? What does that stand for? And that you have all the information from ADOS 101 to have that conversation and spread that message. So that's kind of why I agreed to do it this time. I've been seeing let me tell you, I've been seeing ADOS shirts everywhere. Everywhere. And I decided to do it, and I found a black business owner around here who could do the shirts. And I'm going to use, I think, I said I was going to do drops, but I think I might have found, I got to figure it out, a black person, a black business owner to do fulfillment. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated on that. But ADOS merch, ADOSmerch.com is where you'll find the shirt. And we'll do different colorways and stuff as the time goes on, as we lead up to the conference. So I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that and understood why I was doing it and what was behind it. And that I've been doing this a long time and I haven't sold as much as a mug. And I've turned down all kinds of opportunities. Yvette, you should just do a lot of merch and all this stuff. I've turned down a whole lot of stuff. But this was an opportunity to put some money in other black people's pockets and an opportunity to start a conversation, not just here but in your own community. So, you know, I'm game. So let's move on, fam. Listen, we got some stuff to talk about. We got to talk about. I've missed y'all. I was sick first, then I had technical difficulties, and I had problems, then I had to go get my tooth fixed. I have missed y'all, and I've missed the conversation. And so we're not going to waste too much time to get into it. I want to. Listen, we have to. It's not about what I want. I shouldn't say I want to. But I think we have to have a discussion. This is a lot of you sent this article to me. The student debt crisis, and we have to talk about the student debt crisis, hits hardest at historically black colleges. Now, we have to talk about what that means, but we have to talk about what that means also in terms of our own focus, because while I was away, I saw a lot of unfocusedness, for lack of a better word. While I was away, I saw a lot of people being very unfocused in terms of how they were having this conversation. Oh, they won't let me edit it while I'm talking. So I want to talk about the need, because we've had reparations, and for the first time in my lifetime, people have been talking of this has become like a litmus test for the Democratic Party. First time in my lifetime. And that's because of ADOS and what all of you are doing out here on Twitter. I talk to you all who are going to all these meetings. You're meeting your congresswoman. You're meeting your city council person. You're meeting your senator. I know what you all are doing because I get the messages. So I know that ADOS isn't like something like it's going to be gone in the summer, because I ain't going nowhere. And it's an identity. It can't go. It's an identity. Identities don't go anywhere. See, the people who say that misunderstand who we are. But what I want to really talk about and what I want to get to the bottom of right here, and I'm going to move, I want you to understand, I'm going to move from this story to showing how we got really unfocused. Because if we get unfocused in terms of reparations and a black agenda, in terms of substantive policies that impact us, like this isn't going to work. It doesn't work unless we stay on our square. It doesn't work if we run around doing everything everywhere all the time. It doesn't work. But there are a few things in this article that really point to who we are and what we're facing and the need for reparations now, not next week, not election cycle. And stop telling me, oh, Yvette, we're gonna have to, you just mad, you want to do some wild a big plan, and you mad because people want to do it. Listen, you can make this a plan that spanned a number of years. Reparations doesn't have to be a single year allotment. There are a number of ways to do this if you want to do it. Talking to everybody. I'm talking to my right wingers like Lindsey Graham and all of y'all. When Cory Booker introduced that bill, we don't understand. I ain't responsible. I'm talking to all of you Republicans who were in that Huffington Post piece, and I'm talking to all of you Democrats who want to move away from it. I'm talking to everybody. Let me tell you, I have no affinity. I have no friends. I understand that we have no friends, and I owe you nothing. The only people I owe are ADOS people. That's the only people I owe. I don't owe anybody else anything. I'm not in the bag for Democrats. I'm not in the bag for Republicans. I am in the bag for a black agenda. And here's why. Here's why. Let's just look at this for a second. This is from that same Wall Street Journal article. HBCU alumni have a median federal debt load of $29,000 at graduation. 32% above graduates of other public and non-profit four-year schools. The majority of HBCU grads haven't paid down even $1 of their original loan balance in the first few years out of school. America's 82 four-year HBCUs make up 5% of four-year institutions, but more than 50% of the schools with the lowest three-year student loan repayment rates. Let's keep it pushing, shall we? Degree of debt. At historically black colleges and universities, or HBCUs, are more likely to take out federal loans than those at other four-year colleges. Of course, because we're a poverty group. We're an exploited poverty group. This should not surprise anyone. Let me bring the graph up. HBCU private. Now we're looking at 75%, public 70%, non-HBCU 51%. And this is the percentage. Understand what this is. This is the percentage of undergraduate with student loans. Look at that number in terms of at the HBCU level. Now what you have to understand, when we talk about this, what you have to really understand is what this means. See, I'm not a person who likes to just talk about something in terms of like what this is and I compartmentalize it. What you have to understand is that these are tea leaves. These are tea leaves. And these tea leaves actually mean something. And you have to be able, as we go about ADOS life, you have to be able to understand what this means for you. This means that we are a community in collapse. And a lot of people would say, like, well, maybe we can just get the students to schools to charge less. That would be great. They need to charge along the lines of like a Georgia State or whatever. But through this article, you start to understand why they do this. But the question that we should be asking, instead of just like, okay, why do they charge? The question is, how come our people can't pay? How come we can't pay? See, we are a flat group. We are a poverty group. If Reconstruction had actually happened, your parent would be able to go to your school and pay the majority of that off. No problem. It's only a little bit. 75%, and then you had the other 25. Fine. When that doesn't happen, it should be clear to you that we are an exploited group. Like when you look at this chart that I just put up, HBCU private 75%. When you go down, the for-profit college is only 56%. And this is percentage of undergraduates with student loans. Like worse than a for-profit? Like what is, so we get into it. So let's get into it. Let's get into what this looks like and what it means. The HBCU debt gap has widened partly because of simple math. Tuition increases have outstripped inflation across America. Black families have the least wealth of the largest U.S. racial groups, Federal Reserve data show. Parents of black college students have lower incomes and are less likely to own homes. And even when we own homes, they don't appreciate in value, so we don't get to take those homes and use those homes as ATM machines like other Americans do. They buy a home, they buy a good home, and it appreciates. We don't get that because we're black and we became contagions to wealth. We became like viruses to wealth. And that's exactly what was intended through the government, through people, through white churches, all of that. Less likely to own homes than from other racial groups, the education department data shows. So you end up with data like this. HBCU graduates, 2015, 41%. That's what you end up with. This is not an American life, people. When people ask you why you want to have reparations, because I want to be American. I'm not living an American life. I'm living a third world life. I'm living a caste life. I'm living an abnormal caste life in an American. That's why. You have to be able to say that. And you have to be able to understand how we got tricked. You know, they go through. One of the things with this article, they go through different people and they have conversations with different students or whatever about what they're going through and what they're facing and what they're living through. And what you start to see is that we were lied to by a lot of people. And people say, oh, Yvette, you pick on the boomers. Yep, I don't pick on anybody. I just talk about what happened. I'm not picking on you. Like, stop internalizing stuff. I talk about what happened and how it happened. So when we look at the students, we have one student HBCU graduate who tells us this story. Now a television reporter in the Greensboro, North Carolina area, he still owes nearly $20,000, and bills and loans eat up most of my checks as is. He said he earns less than $50,000 a year, and the loan has made him put off saving as much as he would like. The odds are stacked against me. It doesn't feel fair, but it's all I know. It doesn't feel fair, but it's all I know. Like, if that is not a heartbreaking line for you, it doesn't feel fair. Like, that's ADOS life. It doesn't feel fair, but it's all I know. Because all we've known is unfairness. We watched the Reconstruction PBS documentary. Those who watched part 2, it failed. And nobody came back and said Reconstruction failed. So now it's time for Reconstruction 2.0. Nobody has said that. Nobody has gotten serious about that. This is not about think tanks. This is not about you getting on a podium and saying something. You're not serious about what Reconstruction looks like, because Reconstruction is reparations. When they were supposed to give that 40 acres and a mule and redistribute land that they eventually gave back to these traitorous Confederates, that was supposed to be reparations. So that since you didn't give it now, you have to give, since you didn't give it then, you have to give it now. You don't just get to hold up on that money. You can have a conversation with us about how we do it, the time frame that we do it, and how it gets allotted. We can have all kinds of conversations about that, but you do not get to make us and keep us and maintain us as a bottom caste exploitation class. And it doesn't make any sense, honestly, that anybody is opposing us on this. The reason these kids can't pay for school is because they ADOS. Point blank simple. You look at the family debt. And then let me tell you something. I'm going to have a hard conversation right here about what can and can't be done. I want to read through this with you. Talking about the guy that didn't have the money for the school. He also plans to help repay the roughly $91,000 his father took out for him in federal parent loans. His father, Tyrone, said he graduated with about $1,500 in debt in 1986, about $3,500 in today's dollars, and repaid within 2 years. You want to position your children for opportunity and to be successful, the father said, but carrying debt is kind of tough to swallow. Let me tell you something. You don't pay Tyrone nothing. I'm sorry. You can be mad at me, but college debt is family debt. It's not your debt. You pay whatever debt you have. It's not your debt. Stop. Tyrone, your daddy is the one who told you to go to school, but Tyrone didn't do the politics necessary to make sure and ensure that the doors would still be open for you. He didn't do politics. He just told you to go to school and get an education. That's not good enough. And if you're from that generation and you told kids to do that without doing any politics, you are not good enough. Because you got to stop letting these people say, I'm paying for your student debt. You're paying for a family debt that you encouraged me to do, that you told me was going to be worth something, Tyrone. So now I got to come back to you, Tyrone, and it's not worth anything. What happened? What happened in that time frame where you told me it was going to be worth something and I got to go do it and I got to go take on this debt and we got to take on this debt as a family? And now, what didn't your generation do to ensure that I would have opportunity politically? Did you just go to work and come home? How many articles do you read a week about politics? How many books do you read? Do you know your legislators? What do you do? What did you do to ensure that I would be okay aside from just telling me to go to college, Tyrone? No, this is family debt. And I'm not saying y'all can't pay it together, but don't you take on his burden. That was his burden too. And that's why people go to the college to pay for their kids' tuition, because they understand it's family debt. It's not individual debt. Too many of us are taking on too many burdens. We want to take on the burden of we want to take on the burden. We're going to pay for the family debt. And then we're going to pay for grandmama who fell and hurt her foot. And then we're going to take auntie to the hospital. What? Listen, millennials, Gen Xers, we are not superheroes. And people should have done the work for us. Every generation is supposed to pave the way for the next. Everybody's supposed to do the work. Listen, the work we're doing here and out in the world, I talk to y'all. I know what y'all are doing. God bless you. I'm here with you, and I communicate with y'all via email. I give all the advice, and I come where I can. I help. But we are in this together, and we are paving the way for the people who come after us. But people who didn't do that don't get to just shrug their shoulders and be like, well, I thought school was going to be worth something. Sucks that it ain't. You can't even bear the psychological burden of taking on the debt that you took out and your daddy's debt too. The debt that he took out for you too. So you're gonna bear a family burden on your singular shoulders. You're gonna go crazy. You're gonna go nuts. Can't do that. It's just not possible. It's just not possible. Listen, we are competing against white networks of wealth that go back generations. And they are investing in their kids on a wholly different level than our parents and are investing in us and the younger generation. They are investing long term. They in it to win it. These are lawnmower parents. They are watching their kids. They are going to the schools. They are writing letters to the colleges. And hey, we already saw the scam where they were going far and beyond doing some illegal stuff to get their kids. These people are in their kids' lives and giving money and giving in vivo life transfers and doing all kind of stuff to ensure that their kids succeed. You as a parent don't get to shrug your shoulders. Well, I thought school would work if it didn't. Oh well. No. You don't get to do that and have a kid that is there for you 100% and have the kind of respect that you think you want to have. We're going to have an honest conversation. If you want to do that, you got to be that parent. You got to be that parent. And you should have done the politics. The least you can do is tell your kid, I should have done it. I didn't do it. You were supposed to continue. All you people that came after King were supposed to continue King's legacy. But what happened is a bunch of Negroes scattered in the dust. You know why? Because King got killed. Oh, I don't want that to happen to me. So you had a bunch of Andrew Youngs running around town talking about, we're going to get Wall Street down here. We're going to work with Wall Street. And we don't care about what happens necessarily to the people who came after us. That's not good enough. You have to care. And you have to care knowing that you might not see what happens after it. That's just how life works. You have to do your job and do your due diligence knowing that, like, I might not see none of this. But people started running after that money and running after them, so they got a good job. They got the benefit of Martin Luther King's affirmative action, right? They got the benefit of that, of these jobs, and with what came after that in terms of affirmative action with the jobs and all of that. They got the good stuff. And they went to work every day, came home and chilled out, and decided they didn't want to do politics. And you and me, and we're all living the consequence of that. Politics is your life. You know, Beto, people talk about Beto's running for president. Beto O'Rourke owns a 7-figure building with his mom. And she's like sold for him to live in. Why didn't I talk about this man's a multimillionaire? Like through his wife for the most part. Not saying he doesn't have his own. Listen to this. Much of Beto O'Rourke's wealth came from his parents and his wife. O'Rourke co-owns a shopping mall worth 7 figures. He received his half as a gift from his mother. That's a nice gift, mommy. O'Rourke's wife has a trust fund valued between $1 million and $5 million. What's your trust fund look like? Don't worry, I'll wait. Please don't worry, I'll wait. And going back to the HBCUs, you see tuitions have risen faster than a traditional funding source for low-income students. And we're all low-income. I don't care who tells you any different. Federal Pell Grants, a weak post-crisis economic recovery meant lagging income for many low-income families. Federal data show, leaving proportionally less to pay for education. In addition, blacks typically earn less than whites after college, so they have fewer resources to repay. Black colleges graduates between ages 21 and 24 between ages 21 and 24 earn nearly 17% less per hour on average than white graduates. And we're not even talking about the people who didn't find a job, who didn't get a job. And it's not just the HBCUs. The struggle with debt goes beyond HBCUs. About half of African American borrowers who were freshmen at any type of college in 2003-2004 school year defaulted on a student loan within 12 years, more than twice the rate of white borrowers. More than twice the rate. And we're just trying to do what people tell us to do. This is what one of the kids in the article says. You see older people that you knew from here in terms of Howard, and they talk about how great it is. He said, you get caught up in their shoes and you want to make your own. You get caught up in their shoes and you want to make your own. Fam. You want to make your own. They've gotten us caught up in a world that doesn't exist anymore. And you know, one of the things Antonio has shown us that over 10 million white homes live above the level that we just explained with O'Rourke. So don't tell me like that's only a few whites. Like Antonio broke down the data. We know what that is. We know what life looks like. It's beautiful for them. But we're still living the legacy of slavery. And that's why reparations in terms of is the center of our black agenda. That's why it's integral to our black agenda. That's why. All this stuff, I can draw a line, black to slavery. And what we missed out on in terms of Reconstruction. That's why that Reconstruction documentary was so important. If you didn't see it, go and watch the Reconstruction documentary on PBS. It is absolutely essential to understanding who we are and how we got here. And you see, as we go through it, the mothers, the parents be still owing money. Now, his mother, Pat Huntley, owes about $62,000 in federal parent student loans. Listen, if you still owe money and you got a kid, if you couldn't pay your own student loans, you can't pay your kid's student loan. That's a community, that's a society in collapse. His mother, Pat Huntley, 67, owes about $62,000 in federal student loans, a balance that is growing. Because she can't afford the full monthly payment of over $400, she said. Until recently, she was paying $50 a month toward the balance as part of a reprieve granted by her servicer, she said, and has filled out paperwork through her servicer to reduce the monthly payment. She is waiting to hear back. And she said in there, like, I'm not going to, unless I hit the lottery. You ain't going to hit the lottery. Shut up with the lottery. I'm tired of y'all. Just shut up with that. You're supposed to be able to pay back. And the reason we can't pay back is just essential. It's just clear. And remember what Obama did with those plus loans? Y'all remember? Making it harder, qualified stuff. Y'all remember that? And these schools have gone up. Howard isn't the Howard University that I went to. 10,000 or 14,000 in today's dollar. In 2001, let me read it from the beginning. In 2001 school year, and that's right around the time I left, Howard's tuition and fees were about 10,000 or 14,000 in today's dollars. Today they run about 27,000. That's a lot. That's a difference. That's a big difference, fam. You're servicing poor people and you're charging $27,000. And I think that I would want that cost to be lower. But the other problem here is that why can't we pay? Why can't we pay? And when you really deal with why we can't pay, what you have to come to terms with is that, like, we can't pay because we come from slaves. We're American descendants of slavery. The slavery was an institution. That's what it was. That's what it was. So I don't understand. I don't understand what we believe. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. I don't understand what we believe about ourselves or other people. You know, I still have people coming at me talking about, I don't want to be called the descendant of slavery. I don't know what you do. Well, I don't know what you want in your imagination. My job is not, listen, if you want that, then you need to go talk to Ayanna Vincent. Go talk to her. If you want a guru or something who's going to tell you something, I can't help you. This is not my job. This is not my charge. Right? And we saw this in full circle. We saw this up close, didn't we? Remember the mom who took her kid to Spelman and the old student loan debt was the reason that she got messed up? Listen, if you got your own student debt, you can't put no kid through school. That stuff should have been gone. You can't pay your own debt. You certainly can't pay your kids' debt. Stop, let's play this roller coaster game. See, the problem is we playing this game. Instead of really dealing with the need for reparations and how it has to happen and getting into it, we keep playing this game. Well, no, my daughter got into Spelman. Yeah, but you can't pay your own student loans. You can't pay your kids' student loans if you couldn't pay your own student loans. That's not how any of this works. Your loan should have been paid off. You want to see, this is like, see, college is like having a at least middle class life, which means that debt should have been paid off. I don't know what, I really don't know. Like, and I'm going to get into, one of the things that I want to get into, hold on a second, is like how we really, you know, you can see that, hold on a second, let me bring this up. I want to bring something up about the Spelman parent. When we got to Spelman, that is when it I became aware of this outstanding balance that was stopping me from being able to take out a loan for her. Yeah, because you haven't finished your loan. You haven't finished your own loan. This is a small thing that happened so many years ago, she said, but has reared its ugly head. And I think a tweak in my own organization skills would have helped prevent the situation. No, this is not. See, you see what she said? You see what she said? You see the problem? This is not about a tweak. This is about transformational government. This is about going back and redoing Reconstruction and doing it right. We let the Confederacy win. The Confederacy won when they stole back our land. They stole it back. They took it back because that drunk who was in the White House, Andrew Johnson or whatever that drunk's name was, they took it back. They stole it from us. They stole our birthright from us. This is not about a tweak. This is about getting our birthright back now. This is what we do. This is our job. This is our charge as ADOS people. We have to right a wrong. And anybody who opposes us righting that wrong is a political enemy. Period. We don't give reparations to a bunch of different people. If you oppose us righting that wrong, you are a part of the problem. Period. Stop. No need. No need to keep pushing. And so what I see as I kind of pivot here a little bit, as I pivot a little bit in this conversation, one of the things that I want to say is that we have to stay focused. I want to say we have to stay focused because we have to make this our central issue. I'm not saying that there are not other aspects to a black agenda, but this, in terms of changing our wealth positionality, is it. This is the thing. And so I'm kind of shocked when I see like people who are supposed to be on my team, and I even see leftists and black liberals and people who are supposed to be for prison reform and all kinds of stuff. When I look up and see like this on your timeline, are you okay? You need some medicine? Like, how is this on your timeline? How is this man on your timeline? I don't care. Listen, if you want to tell me that you're a person who just likes golf, well, Yvette, I just really get into it. I really like it, and I putt around a bit myself. I putt around. Then I'm going to ask you, who were the last 4 people to win a Masters? And you need to be able to roll that off to me. And I need to know that you celebrated the last time anybody wore a green jacket because you're that into golf. If not, you're not into golf. You're just lying to me. So, and this becomes a problem when we start to have this conversation. This becomes a problem when we start to talk about frameworks, when we start to talk about the lens through which we understand things. What are you taking pride in? What are you happy about that a brown person won? Understand something. Please understand this. Understand that this man went on Oprah. This is the one with his father, but he went on. Understand that he went on Oprah for a very specific reason. This man went on Oprah to make up a race. Tiger Woods went on Oprah to make up a race to get away from us. He made up Cobbler Nation to get away from us. He wanted to get away from black people. That's why anytime you make up a whole nother race, I'm Cobbling Asian, just to get away from Negroes, you should be gone for good. I don't care how much you put, child. You ain't doing nothing for me. And you never did anything for me. I don't care that you hugged your son. I don't care how much you love him. I don't care what a great moment it was. It wasn't a great moment for me or my people, and you threw us in the trash. There was a moment where you could have done good. You could have really done something good for us as a golfer who had a black father, right? And you used to understand that, but you decided to throw us away. But the problem is, we don't throw away people who throw us away. When people throw you away and they make up a race to get away from you, you should get away from them. I'm not showing nothing. And understand something. Let me explain to you a little bit of why this kind of cobbling Asian nonsense is so damaging. Because anchoring frameworks, we all have frameworks of understanding. You can have a framework of dysfunction where you view it as like black people are just dysfunctional. That's the problem. It's not a problem of what happened to them and the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow and making them a contagion of wealth. It's their dysfunction. You can have a framework of belief. Well, black people don't believe the right things, and that's why they don't get what they need. You can have a framework of individual agency. And I think Tiger Woods mostly goes into here. Well, see, Tiger did it. We can all do it. And these lenses are what determines policies. That's how the lens through which people understand what happened to us, through which Tiger understands what happened to us, that determines how policy is effected. That determines what policy comes into play. If you really understand that what happened to us is a legacy and a lineage and not individual agency, then you really understand who we are. And when you talk about what Tiger should have did or should have said, Tiger should have said, listen, my daddy was military. And so like he got opportunities to be in the military and that afforded me a good life. So I believe in government. I believe in government because my daddy got opportunities through government. You should be pushing government. Instead, you're being raceless. But another thing, that's what gave you the opportunity to live in this house and live this life. And it is a problem for me. It's a problem for our entire community that we allow him to do this and we still celebrate him. You're cobbling Asian. I don't celebrate you. You should only be talking about Tiger if you're really into golf and you talk about golf all the time. And I'm going to check your timeline. I bet you don't. Who cares if he won the Masters again? Why, child? I don't understand. That's where, when you look at this is where Tiger grew up. You have to compare advantage to disadvantage. Did you have parents who grew up in this neighborhood? Did you have a military father? Or did your father was part of the crack epidemic or whatever? Be honest about yourself about this $600,000 house. And be honest with yourself about the advantage embedded in that. We have to, one of the things that has to happen, we got to start getting honest. We got to talk about redistribution, not opportunity. When you owe a debt to me, I was listening to a Vox podcast, about an old podcast about reparations, and they started talking about opportunity. You probably got money from your mama and daddy, the person who's on this podcast. This is not about opportunity. This is about a racial wealth gap. Wealth is wealth. You have to fix that. You don't fix that with opportunity. A debt is owed. You pay the debt. I want you to anybody have a bill collector call your house? And you start telling them, well, I'm going to create some opportunity for you to get this money back. You're not going to get it from me. But I'm going to create an opportunity for you to make some money. I got a plan. How does that work out? It only works out for us that people start talking about opportunity because they know the debt is so large. But it's not our fault it's large. You could have just given us our opportunity in Reconstruction and afterward. There wouldn't be a debt now. Not our fault. The debt is the debt. How rare was it to have this kind of house for black people back in the day that Tiger Woods' family was doing that stuff? I mean, his parents were living there. That was a very rare thing. He doesn't talk about the advantages that he had that other people do not have. One thing I've said, fam, you got to count advantage and disadvantage. You always got to. You have to count advantage and disadvantage. And there was a great little piece of interview with Tiger when he was like 14. He understood race then, but all of a sudden he forgot race and decided to become raceless. This is what Tiger said when he was 14. Every time I go to a major golf club, I can always feel it, always sense it. People are always staring at me. What are you doing here? You shouldn't be here. When I go to Texas or Florida, You always feel it. They say, you know, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here. And that's probably because that's where slavery was. Tiger, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You used to understand who you were. You used to understand what slavery was. But you decided that in order to be successful, you had to get away from black people. You had to get away from us. And we co-signed it, just like we co-signed it with Obama. Obama decided that he had to get away from us. He couldn't deal with us or our issues because it would make the rest of America mad, and we dealt with that. We got to stop that. No, you don't get to run away from us. You don't get to be raceless. You don't get to run away from race. You used to talk about how about you would be bigger than, you know, you'd be bigger than Jordan to black people. You are, but with no consequence. And now here you are. Now here you are with Trump. Trump to award Tiger Woods the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Now here you are. Trump asked Tiger Woods on tax reform. Now Tiger Woods, let me tell you what you need in that moment. When you have somebody like Trump asking about tax reform for ADOS, you don't need a Tiger Woods. You need an Antonio or Yvette. But he asked Tiger Woods. Now, when you look at what Trump passed and what Trump presented and was in favor of in terms of tax reform, I think you can understand what Tiger Woods told him. Tiger Woods didn't say nothing good. He don't care. He don't care about you or me. He don't care. And we got this awful Trump tax bill that guts black America. Understand that Republican tax bill, it guts our community. We told y'all a long time ago that because of this tax bill, the refunds were going to be light, and it was going to, like how taxation had incentivized family and such and low wage workers. We told y'all that Antonio and I told you all in videos that those tax cuts were going to gut black America. We said that long before these slow people just found out that their refunds were going to be light. We've been said that. We've been told y'all that. We went line by line and showed like how this is going to gut black America in every category, from the NHS to DOJ. We did it in every category. And he talked to Tiger. Y'all celebrating this dude who was talking to Trump? Y'all celebrating this? He's in business with Trump too. This isn't just a week off together, which would be bad enough. They're in business together. And of course Trump loves to tweet about it because he gives Trump and Republicans a way to say, like, see, I'm in favor of black people. I'm in favor of ADOS. I'm in favor. He gives them a way to be raceless without doing anything for the race. That's what Tiger Woods does. The least we can do is not celebrate it. Come on. When he was on Oprah, I remember Oprah said, this is America's son. He didn't even get to be our son. You are known as America's son. That means you don't have to deal with race. See, we have allowed Tiger Woods being raceless allows America not to fix race. Him being raceless allows America not to fix race. That's what he's doing. That's the damage that he's doing with that cobbling Asian nonsense. America don't have to fix race because Tiger Woods. Well, he had to cut us off. Well, he had to do it. He had no choice. I mean, what you want him to do, Yvette? He got to get his money. Y'all stop putting money over everything. That's how you end up scattered. I was reading a certain social media guru, financial guru, who says he's in favor of reparations, but spent half of last week tweeting about Tiger Woods. No, you just scattered and you just confused. And like that's why you can't be at the lead of anything, because like being at the lead of any kind of movement requires like a precise kind of. You have to have surgical precision in this. You can't be moving left, right, in, out, whatever. No, surgical. This is my square right here. Not well. I want reparations, but I love Tiger. Is this how Tiger did it? This is how Tiger gonna be a billionaire. See, we gotta learn from Tiger. Tiger. But I love reparations too. I'm right here with you. No, no, you're scattered. You don't have focus. You need Ritalin or something. I don't know. Whatever the people take. What do they take? Adderall? I don't know. You need some. Because leading something of this level requires a level of specificity. And it requires having to cut that sort of thing off. And understanding why Tiger Woods is detrimental to what we're fighting for. You can't be a person who's trying to do business with Tiger. If Tiger came and said, I want to do, oh, well, I guess I had to let this go. Tiger Woods called me, he going to do business. And so now Trump sees blackness through Tiger Woods, and Tiger Woods is fine. Multi-millionaire, close to billionaire, Tiger Woods is fine. So yeah, of course the blacks can make it. They just don't do like Tiger. They don't work hard, they don't try hard. You don't need somebody like that talking to presidents and multi-millionaires. Tiger Woods is a problem. And let's go to this real quick before we end this up. We have to go to this because it's necessary. Some things are just necessary. So this was a good article. Tiger in Twilight. Tiger Woods is back. This was a while ago. I don't think I got I think it was 2017 or 18. But it was a good interview. So, and one of the things they go into is his relationship with Trump. Well, I've known Donald for a number of years, Wood said. We play golf together and we've had dinner together. So yeah, I've known Donald pre-presidency and obviously during his presidency. What do you say to people who might find it interesting that you're friendly with Trump? And he answers like, I don't care. Like, listen to this. Woods and Trump have homes not far from one another in Florida. They have dined together, Woods said. They have played golf before and after Trump became president, including last November at Trump National Golf Club in Jupiter, Florida. And here you go. Here's the money grab. This is the money. Woods is designing the course for Trump World Golf Course Dubai, scheduled to open next year. The project took root before Trump's company took on management, but the website for Tiger Woods Ventures, referred to as TGR, an umbrella organization over all Woods business and charitable work, does not dodge the association. It says they're happy to work with him. I'm enjoying working with Trump organization, which is first class, Woods said. First class. First class. I don't know. I'm just wondering, is this your king? Is this your king? Why were y'all tweeting about him? I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me that, and I'm holding out. I'm about to get the kicker. I'm about to get the kicker for you. Because it gets worse. It gets worse than anything I've said. It absolutely does. And I think we need to understand that. Like this man said, he could have said, I'm black, and this is what I've experienced in golf courses, and this is the problem in the black community, and this is why I was able to get out through talent because of my parents and what my dad had and the government, and this is what I was able to do. He could have said that, and he chose not to. He chose to unhitch himself. In your mind, you have to think of a truck with a hitch behind it. He chose to take the hitch. This hitch is Tiger. Tiger's in the truck. This hitch behind him is black people. He chose to unhitch. Now, here's the kicker. He told, in terms of like what he told the people. He used race, though. This man used race to get put on. He became raceless after using race. Wood's desire for a buffer from reality translates to the mystery surrounding his core beliefs. In 1996, when he was 20, Nike released an ad with Woods that read, in part, "There are still courses in the U.S. I am not allowed to play because of the color of my skin." So you use race as far as you can get it. Nike uses race to push you forward. Nike uses race to push you forward and do ads about race, and then you come full circle and become a raceless cobbling Asian. Tiger, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. And those of you who promoted him and pushed him last week, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourselves too. This man intentionally distanced himself from us and said he was cobbling Asian. He did not say I'm black. He did not say I'm part ADOS. He said I'm cobbling. He did not say I'm Thai. I'm Thai and I'm ADOS. My mama's Thai and I'm ADOS. Or my mama's Thai and I'm black. He didn't say that. He made up something. He put Caucasian in the beginning. He put cobbling Asian. This man, you all should not have celebrated. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? Here's the kicker, though, what he said at the end of the article. He was asked about race. And I want to show you what he said, that he's still raceless and duplicitous in what he said. They asked him, do you have anything more broadly to say about the state, I guess, the discourse of race relations in this country? No, I just finished 72 holes, he said, looking for levity, and I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of hungry. I'm kind of hungry. How do you let this man do this to us? He won't even. He's just like, I don't want to talk about race. I'm hungry. I want to eat. I don't want to talk about these Negroes. I don't want to talk about them. I'm finna. Nick, hey, chill. I don't want to deal. And like, we let him get away with it. We let him get away with it. We let him get away with this cobbling Asian stuff. We always think the people that run gonna come back. They never come back. They're not coming back. He ain't coming back. Clarence Thomas ain't nobody coming back. Even though Clarence Thomas is better than him. At least he tries to do stuff for HBCU sometimes. This dude he don't care. And so I think what I'm saying in terms of how, as I close out, is that what we have to do, we have to focus, and we have to focus on our values. Tiger Woods is in opposition to everything that we value. He is not in line with our values. And if you want to talk about being on code means not being with this guy who has decided that he was going to get up in the world and divorce himself of race. Even as a kid, he used to understand race, but he decided to become raceless at a time when he could have benefited us. That means that you don't ever get to be one of us again. And you don't ever get to see us cheering you on Twitter or nowhere else. Because we know who you are. And we know what you stand for. So you can go do that somewhere else. I don't have any kind of affinity for Tiger Woods. I feel like he's an awful person. This is my opinion. And I think, even if he's not awful in general, he's awful to us. And that's enough. So, fam, I'm going to set up the phones to take calls. Just give me a few minutes and we'll set everything up. And we'll be ready. I want to hear what you all have to say about the article and about Tiger. All right? We are back, fam. We are back. We are back. We are back. Please hit the like button if you are in there. Please hit the like button if you are in here and watching the show. Hit that like button for me. Cost you no money, cost you nothing to hit the like button. So I appreciate it. I'm going to go to the calls right now. I want to hear what everybody has to say. I am going to 267 first. 267. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Amira, a.k.a. Princess 6. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Princess. How you been?
Girl, we've been battling, Yvette.
These Twitter streets ain't nothing nice. These Twitter streets ain't nothing nice.
I'm telling you. But listen, I'm calling you because you're talking about student debt. And I didn't go to HBCU, but let me tell you, I went to undergrad and I went to grad school. I borrowed $32K, Yvette. Right now, my principal is like $120.
What?
So this debt is it's just really personal to me. And I know you were saying that the woman was in the article said the only way she can pay it off is by a lottery. Literally, it's either reparations or a lottery for me.
Yep.
I can't pay it off. I can't discharge it. I can't. It's just like, it's my DTI is all messed up because I have all this loans.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrendous. So let me give you some background. You know, I'm like pretty much the first person. My family has been, I'm ADOS, both sides. My family's been in this country for hundreds of years. I'm pretty much the first person to go to college. I'm pretty much the first person to go to grad school. So, the finagling, the financial issue, it's just like, okay, you take out student loans, and then you were told you would get a job, and you did pay your loan back. But when you come back and you don't make as much as your white counterparts, then you keep deferring your loans, you keep deferring them. They take that interest that you haven't paid, and they tack that onto your principal. So that's why you go from 32 to only 120, not including interest. So basically, I owe $250,000, and I borrowed 32.
Listen,
Crazy.
It's not even just not earning as much as your white counterparts. I have caught, when I go to the airport, like, it's a catch-22 people. Uber and Lyft have destroyed labor laws. Like, they have just eviscerated labor law. But the catch-22 is that a lot of my people be driving Uber and Lyft. So, like, I have to support them too. Like, they riding. So anyway, I don't think people understand how many, you talk about not being employed as much as your white counterparts. I don't think people understand, like, when I talk to my Lyft drivers, how many of them are college graduates and they're driving Lyft. Like, this is what America has done to them. This is what America has put us in this kind of situation. And I don't think we understand it. Like, America has to pay for it. Like, you all have, like, this is trash.
Yeah, I agree. So I just wanted to share that with you. It's very difficult to share because we all want to pretend like, we balling. But, hey, that's my struggle. That's my story. That's why I'm in these Twitter streets.
Oh, you be representing these Twitter streets. Well, I appreciate you.
Hey, Breaker Brown family. Can't wait to see the Breaker Brown Atlanta family when we get together at the end of April.
Oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on at the end of April? I ain't got no memo. What's going on?
Oh, you might get a memo. We're supposed to be getting together. So,
well, let me know. Let me know. I'll come through. I'll come through if you let me know.
I think there was one other meeting, like maybe a week ago.
I didn't know. I don't recall. I get a lot of emails, so it might have fallen through the cracks because I ain't got no assistant, nothing. They be coming fast and furious. But send me something else. Send me an email.
I know that's why I don't send you nothing, Yvette. I got receipts for you. I don't send them because I know you don't be reading your email.
I do read a lot of them, at least 90%. I click on at least 90%, but I be trying to get in and out.
I hear you. Well, I know you got a lot of
but let me just say this. One trick for getting me to make sure I pay attention to an email is in the subject line, put what you want. Like, Reggie from Boston is really good. Like, he'll put, like, Reggie from Boston in the subject line, and I know, like, oh, that's Reggie. I got to read that. Like, put in the subject line, like, ADOS Atlanta or something. And then it kind of like cue me up with the subject line, and then I know what I'm going for, and I'll read it.
All right, we'll pass the word.
All right.
Love the show.
Appreciate it.
Oh, I'm waiting for my income tax to come. So
They're gonna be short. They're gonna be short. Just know it's gonna be short.
Huh?
I said it's gonna be
What
short.
you say?
It's gonna be short. You ain't gonna be right.
Okay.
All
All right, talk to you soon.
right, fam. I appreciate
it. Bye.
it. It ain't gonna be right, fam. I'm gonna try to keep it pushing to get some more calls in here. I'm going to 404. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
This is Angela Shatty from Michigan, Atlanta, Georgia.
What's going on, fam? What's on your mind?
Well, I'm doing okay. First of all, I'd just like to say that we love you down here in Atlanta.
I appreciate it, fam.
ADOS.
I appreciate it. Good to be loved at home.
That's real.
It's hard to be hated at home.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to comment on the Tiger Woods situation. You know, I had a chance to evaluate that. And I had a friend from Michigan that was running for office down here, and he had a son that was HBCU college down here at Morehouse, and off into the golfing thing. He took it to the next level.
Okay.
But my thoughts on that is that you can tell, just basically, just by, you know, all due respect to Tiger Woods' father, that anybody, me personally, dealing with Asians, the community, and how they treat us, and how their lifestyle is that he was groomed into basically just accept that type of personality and take on that type of identity. And so a part of that, to me, played a lot of his father, or his father wouldn't marry an Asian in the first place.
Well,
I just wanted to make that comment,
one of the things that's interesting is that, like, in terms of interracial marriage, and I'm not judging anybody, but Tiger Woods is an older guy, right? So, like, he's got to be in his 40s. So, like, this was an interracial relationship during a time where interracial relationships were not common. Now, I'm not saying anything pro or con about that. You know, some people fall in love, but you can't talk about. We don't know what Tiger Woods' dad did that for. We don't know, like, just like some people just fall in love. Other people have different ambitions. Like, I don't want to be bothered with no black woman. They be hating on black women or whatever. Like some self-hate stuff. We don't know. We don't know. So, like, all of that stuff has to be taken into consideration when we discuss this.
Well, you know, I mean, that's true too. But if you take into consideration, if you look at the time that he lasted, all the way through from the time that when he came on the scene, that it just, and then dealing with the Caucasian woman, I mean, it's just evident. His life, you know, I mean, we love Tiger, but still, the idiosyncrasies that he's been going through and gotten himself into. I mean, you know, God bless him for back surgery, and we bless him for recovering. But I'm just saying, look at the pattern of his mentality dealing with his situation. Yeah. Automatically, he rides with them. He rides with Trump, and he rides with the Caucasians. Period. You know, it is what it is.
I appreciate it, fam. I appreciate fam. I appreciate you calling in. I'm gonna let you go. So I'm trying to get through since I missed shows, trying to get through people. But yeah, I don't know what he runs with. Like, I don't know but I know he don't run with us. Like, I don't know what he runs with or what he identifies with, but I know he don't identify with us because he made up a whole nother word to be like, I'm not them Negroes over there. Just understand, I don't trust them no Negroes over there. I understand that he decided that I got to distance myself and just cut this baggage off, and this baggage is called blackness. And he wasn't always that way. That much I understand. So I am going now to 903. 903, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette.
What's going on?
Can y'all hear me?
I can hear you good.
Hello?
I can hear you, fam.
I want to say something tonight about land, all right?
About what?
We had, land,
okay.
L-A-N-D. All right? I want everybody to understand right now, I'm going through a process. I've had this land in my family for 5 generations, right? I'm the generation half. I know I'm a unicorn and all that kind of good stuff, right? But I really want to eke out the specific reasons for this, all right? At this point in time, we have 75 acres, and they're trying to tax us out of it because you don't have so many cows, you don't have this, you don't have that. They want us to have equipment and livestock that we can't afford to pay for the taxes in that county. And you know why?
Why?
Because the country is being re-gentrified just like the city is, you know, with how they're going to inner cities and all that. They're doing the same things in these small towns. So they put all these requirements on you in order to keep your land anymore. And what we're trying to sit there and say, our income, right, is $50,000 a year. Base your property and the taxes off the income. But you have people from California coming here and buying a lot for $9,000 when normally a lot maybe go for $15,000 to $2,000. So what they do is raise everybody else's taxes up, and I'm a part of that. And what they would rather do, I told y'all this before when you were with Army, but we have 75 acres. You would much rather have a half-acre lot with 150 taxpayers instead of just that one. There's so many things, y'all, that when you come to property taxes, I want y'all to understand about property too. Ask for mineral rights. If you ever acquire a piece of property, ask for your mineral rights.
Mineral rights? What's that?
Get the property on top. Get the mineral rights below.
What's mineral rights, though? What does that mean?
I've heard this said before. Because if you have soil and, like, you know, remember Jake Clampett when he discovered oil? You know,
I remember
like
that. I watched all kind of little hick shows in my time. Yeah, I remember.
You remember that? And he said oil was in the ground? Well, it's because he owned the mineral rights. Because you can have property on top. It was happening in North Dakota, South Dakota, where people were coming, the company were coming from your neighbor's part and siphoning your oil from your property because you didn't have the mineral rights. Well, you don't want to sell to me? That's fine. We'll go to your neighbor. Your neighbor say, yeah, you can go get the mineral rights. And they will let, the person would let the mineral rights be sold, but the neighbors would say, okay, because they would pay them so much money and take your, don't you see some holes, these holes in Florida and all that kind of stuff with those holes like that? It's kind of the same kind of thing. When you go rob a bank and you put a hole under your property and you have a sump hole in there, it's no different. And they take your property and you have cows. You might have cows out there. Cows break legs and so on and so forth. It's just a scheme in the whole thing of it. So I want to make sure that everybody understands that, and make sure everybody understands that it's not that easy owning property anymore. It's really not, because we've had it for 5 generations. At some point in time, can't you sit there and tell people, hey, you own this property. You've had it for this many generations. But no, they always want to tax you higher and higher and higher.
They make it hard for you to be an owner, especially without wealth.
Again,
I said they make it hard for you to be an owner.
Yeah, because if I didn't have, okay, so back in the day I had cows on the property, right? So I was able to qualify for a farm subsidy. But the white boys across from me sold the cows. Do you think DPS, Texas Department of Rangers, Wildlife Services came out there and investigated? No. Nobody came out.
What you mean when you say the boys across from me sold the cows? They sold your cows?
Yeah, they stole my cows. They cut the fence and got their horses and rode them through the fence. They cut the fence row and they rounded them up and sold them off in Arkansas somewhere.
Wait a minute. They stealing cows and they stealing farm animals?
Yeah, if you have them, it's money. That's a true story. No question about it. And I tell people this all the time, and this Tom Hartman guy on Free Speech TV, he kills me all the time. I'm sitting there telling you, I went to a wedding the other day, and I talked to my relatives. I said, how many of y'all picked cotton when y'all were, what age did y'all start? I got 3, I got 5, they picked cotton from the age of easily 5 to 15, my father included. He's still alive.
My mom too. My mom did it too. My mama did it too. I'm with you.
They took my parents out of school.
My mama did too. My mama took my mom out of school too. Wasn't no school. You got to pick the cotton.
So you're telling me we got a full and great education, but my family was taken out of school to go pick cotton for them. And you know what? I seen a documentary on it was PBS about Emmett Smith, right? And his
Emmett Till or Emmett Smith? Who is Emmett Smith? What you talking about?
No, Emmett Smith.
Oh, the football player
from Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, Dallas Cowboys running back. Yeah. Okay.
Right. So he went back in his family lineage, and I want you to really know his family, the family that owned his family, have trucking companies. They have tow trucks. They have grocery companies. They have tire shops all around that little community right there, where his family is descended from. And that's what I'm saying. People are always talking about Georgetown, these bigger places, but there are so many small communities who have made money from the descent of slaves.
But what you hold on one second. Hold on one second, fam. Hold on one second. Don't just say it's like all these small people. It's white America. Like honestly, like the reason that we have the racial wealth gap, the reason that the racial wealth gap exists is because of that. Like it's not just like Georgetown. It's like y'all, y'all. Like come on, you're exactly right. But I'm gonna let you finish up, fam. I'm sorry.
Emmett Smith was riding through the town, and he's seen all these names. He's seen the names of the moving companies and the grocery stores and so on and so forth. And he was like, "Ain't that the name we seen on the document?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, that's them. They are your owners from back in the day. Your forefathers' owners from back in the day. So yeah, they need to pay reparations as well."
Yeah, they do.
It's a joke to me at this point in time. And if you watch it, I mean, it was like, wow. And you know, I'm going to sit there and say this one more thing. I get so tired of of white folks saying, we didn't own no slaves. We didn't own no slaves. But that's what Ben Affleck thought too. Peace out. I'm done.
Appreciate it, fam. And listen, even if you didn't benefit, even if you're right and your family as a white American didn't own slaves, you still benefited from being white in America and not being this black group that came from slaves. You still benefited from that. That's why we have a racial wealth gap. We don't have a slave owner wealth gap. We have a racial wealth gap for a reason. You benefited. Own it. And if you don't own it, like all of these right wingers, all these leftists, if you don't own it, then we're not allies. Just know that. Just figure your own life out. Figure your own politics out. We can't have you keep putting us to the side. We're not living like that no more. I don't know who, or somebody done told you wrong. I'm going to 503. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, Yvette, this is Quentin calling out of the Pacific Northwest.
What's going on?
Not a whole lot. Just listening to the great show that you're putting on tonight. And I just wanted to really quickly talk about some of the things from the Reconstruction documentary.
Okay.
Some of the things that stood out to me. One of the things I heard in part one was that as blacks started to get more political gains and different things like that, ADOS women, they were walking 25 miles to go to political meetings. So for me, that kind of underscored how we've regressed over time. And, and one of the things I also hear often, like from certain people online, I block them, but they say, oh, Yvette isn't a part of the black radical tradition.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like people who say that about you are full of crap, especially after watching the Reconstruction documentary, because the fight has always been about, when you look at people like Ida B. Wells, Robert Smalls, and Frederick Douglass Du Bois, the fight has always been about full citizenship and this being our country and laying claim to what is rightfully ours. So I would argue that you are a part of the black radical tradition, and the same people who say that about you, they're, like you said earlier, they're scattered. They're all over the place. They want quote-unquote colonial borders to be dismantled. They think that reparations are impossible. So actually it turns out Yvette is a part of the black radical tradition, and you're not. So that's one of the things that I have to say about those people. And then I'm reading a book about Joe Louis. It's just something I'm doing on the side.
Okay.
And one of the things they note is that during his younger years, a lot of the gains that were made by ADOS, they were still being pulled back during that time. So to me, I just kind of looked at that and compared it to Tiger Woods. And a lot of people don't know a lot about Joe Louis, but he had his whole race on his back. I mean, he instilled a sense of pride and dignity in black people because it let us know that, it made us feel like we were the strongest people in the world, especially coming after having all of our gains. We had virtually no political power during the New Deal era. So I just compared him to Tiger Woods. And although Joe Louis, he did some things personally that I didn't agree with. I mean, overall, he makes Tiger Woods look like a kitten. So, yeah. So I definitely have far more respect for people like Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali and you know, the black athletes who carried their whole race on their back. And then another thing from the Reconstruction documentary that I kind of found odd was the Chicago Fair that they had where Du Bois and Wells kind of protested about it, and they brought Africans in from Africa, and they imported and they imported Eskimos in at the Chicago Fair, but they didn't want to show ADOS. They did not include ADOS in that fair. And it kind of made me think about what's going on today. Although they showed the Eskimos and Africans in a negative light, they were still able to be there and participate while we remained hidden because they did not want our condition to be seen and how they were, you know, really abusing us and pulling back all of our rights. So I kind of looked at that and thought about today how they hide us. You know,
you thought about the masking. You thought about what you thought about was how our failure is masked by different groups. And that is unfortunate, but that is what has happened. You don't have to listen, you don't have to be a white supremacist to be complicit in white supremacy. I want everybody to understand that. You don't have to be white or white supremacist to be complicit in white supremacy. We've all seen people of color, no matter who they are. We've all seen people of color police officers beat black people, you know, we've all seen that. You don't have to be, you can be complicit in white supremacy and be brown and be black. It don't matter. I think everybody has to come to terms with that. First and foremost.
Yes. So, you know, just watching the Reconstruction documentary, it solidified for me that my story is an American story. I'm an American, and it instilled a sense of pride in me to know that my people survived such difficult times and such great hardships. But I look at the Tiger Woods situation as the same thing as the Meghan Markle situation when you had a lot of black people online celebrating her marriage to Prince Harry. I mean, it's just like a sickness to me. I really don't understand it. That man has disowned us time and time again, and I don't see how he can come back from all that he's done and be celebrated and congratulated. To me, that shouldn't have got any kind of notoriety within the black community. We should have totally disregarded that. And then my last statement is I went to a PWI. You know, and another trap that a lot of us fall into, especially black people who may have gone to predominantly white institutions, is, and you know, we're just being, we don't know everything at that age. We're still coming into our own and developing. But another tactic that they use too is when you are, having fun like your peers and different things like that, they may also try and slap you with, a criminal record or give you charges and stuff like that, which makes it even more. I'd like to see the breakdown of black college graduates who may have criminal backgrounds or criminal records and see how that even makes it more difficult to pay back student loans and to, really thrive in this economy.
Yeah.
But I know you have to get to more people, but I just wanted to make those comments about the documentary and talk about, Tiger and his phoniness and everything else that's going on. But I really appreciate you giving us an outlet to talk about these things. Thank you, Yvette.
No, thank you, fam. I appreciate you calling. That was a good call. I appreciate that call. That was a really good call. I want to say, too, something he said about me being in line with, really, what black people have been doing. Everything that we have been doing has been rooted in citizenship. You can't make us fighting to be citizenship and try to make that global. That's not how any of this works. Now, I'm not telling you what to do after we get reparations. I'm not telling you, hey, I'll be the first ones. After we get reparations, I'll be the first ones to take this show on the road and tell everybody else how we did it and what they need to do and put together a plan. I will help you. I will be the first one to do that. But right now, this is the fight. And I think the people who are avoiding this fight are really kind of lazy. Like they don't really want to do nothing, and it's easy to talk about something that never gonna happen. It's like the guy who goes by the name Ghetto Intellectual, who says he was part of reparations, and he said, "Well, it never gonna happen." Well, you shouldn't be here if you don't believe it's ever gonna happen. Like you shouldn't be in this space. Like how do you get to be in this space, and why are you in this space? You're just trafficking. You're just trafficking on having a Pan-Africanist conversation that kind of rubs your own ego, but it doesn't mean anything. I want to put this up. Remember, everybody, let's not forget. The 23rd of May, which is a Thursday, we will be reading When Affirmative Action Was White. That will be our book club. We will have a Monday and Wednesday show, but we will also have the Thursday show for When Affirmative Action Was White. This is your opportunity. It is now April the 17th. This book we will be reading is May the 23rd. So you have a month to get this book and read it. If you haven't already gotten this book and read it, I just wanted to remind everyone about our book club, May the 23rd. That is a Thursday. So please, if you have not get your book, read your book. Let's get in it. Let's do this political education, because political education is the foundation of everything. Shout out to my economist, Dr. Darity, as always, but shout out to my economists. Shout out to my historians. You all have done some very good work, and we are grateful. I am going now to 310. 310, what's going on?
What up, this Tone Talk?
What's going on, Tone Talk?
You know, it's been an interesting few weeks. Everybody talking. Boys over there talking. Tell boys take down them shirts on Teespring. You know, I'm looking around and everybody want to talk about reparations. And everybody, let me say this. Boys is ADOS in the sense of lineage. But everybody got to understand that we demand a whole other level of like politics and morality. And I say that in a sense of not evil and good. I say that in a sense of there's no space for you to sell $1 million classes to people and advocate for reparations. They don't go together. It's okay that it don't go together. Your stuff just don't make sense. I know my stuff makes sense. I had the same issue with Roland Martin. The boy Roland goes on that the TV show on the stage with Eric Dyson and Sharpton and holds up the report me and Darity did. What we get wrong about closing the racial wealth gap. Me, Darity, Hamilton, and others. Holds it up. Then, 2 days ago, he's tweeting about the report. Without saying that he's tweeting about the report. He sounds a little broken down in the tweet, and he says, you know how many, he starts quoting the data in the report. There's 2.6 million businesses, black businesses, but only so many have employees, like whatever percent in the report. Everything from the report. Then he draws his own conclusion, though, that we need vision, and that's how we gonna fix it. I'm telling y'all that all these people don't know what to do with ADOS. You got the minister, he done went around everywhere and basically said that Yvette is a right winger. This woman here who do this show Mondays and Wednesdays for nothing but small black donations of $5 and $10, $15 sometimes, is a right winger. She's not a right winger. This is awful. I think Mark Thompson might be one of the most devastating, like undermining of reparations that I've seen in my personal view, because he should just step to the side. You hit that man in his face, that black man with the black hat. Everybody seen the video, and he wasn't ADOS. That man was Nigerian. Had nothing to do with us. If you want to talk to Ray Winbush, they Pan-African together. Had nothing to do with us. But you done went around to all these places and undermined our discussion about reparations and confuse people because you want to keep that job as serious. Nobody was watching that show. You got 300 viewers. How many you got in the box tonight, Yvette? 3,000? Come on, get the weight up. So let me talk. Let me talk to y'all. Man, you got the chart with we got to bring the chart up with the lines again, with the yellow and the green and the red. Because I just want to make sure everybody know what Yvette was talking about earlier when she said her mama was picking cotton. You know, you talking about somebody who was sharecropping. You talking about somebody that was likely sharecropping in by my rough math, he's talking 1954, 1955. Understand, her mama had to sharecrop when this thing is going up. Let me explain the chart again for those people that are new, because we got a lot of new people. What this chart is it shows you that wealth is calcifying in a way that we haven't seen since the Depression. The two circles, the first circle is when the Depression hit. When these two lines cross, this is the bottom 90% share of overall wealth and the top 0.1. The bottom 90 is the red line. We're in the bottom, third of the bottom 90. Like our whole race is the bottom third, bottom half. The green line is the top 0.1% of America. Top 0.1%. So those lines haven't crossed basically since the Depression, but they just crossed again. Goes basically about 20%. When that shows up, that means that your life is like as a regular person that doesn't have wealth transfer, it's just not going to be that good. But understand again that her mama was picking cotton when the line was actually going up. For all y'all out there that don't really get it, you better fight tooth and nail. And I don't mean that physically. I mean y'all better get on Twitter. Y'all better support ADOS because ADOS is your last chance. Reparations is your last chance. I'm telling you right now, when these lines cross again, which they already have done, your life, your children's life, it's going to look like this. It's going to look like a world where you never pay debt off, where you essentially drive Uber tonight, tomorrow night, and the next night, and at the end of the day, Uber owns the car that you drove in. I'm just telling you that's what we're at. And I'm not saying that you're doing it alone. I got student debt. Yvette got student debt.
Yeah.
Well, everybody can't have student debt. But you know why we got student debt? Because we black. Come on. Come with it. Yvette, can you bring the second chart up? Because I kind of want to just talk to him for a second. What I want y'all to understand on this second chart, I did this. Shout out to Darity. He loved this chart because he actually going to use it in some presentation. Because it really frames everything. We talked about this chart a little bit. There's a version of this that doesn't have the X's and has all white people at different levels. But the reason why I want to bring it up right now is to put it in context of this college thing that we're talking about. College. You know, different world, college. Let's talk about it. Howard is $23,000 for tuition, $20,000 for board. $23,000 for tuition, $20,000 for board. Harvard is $43,000 for tuition, $20,000 for board. That's 63 versus 43. But black folks don't have 2/3 of what white folks have in wealth. So how does this math work? Me and Yvette got into it a little bit earlier, having a discussion. One of the debates we had. And what I'm telling y'all is what that tells you is that these HBCUs don't have an economic model that you can actually live and service. So the only way you can do it is by getting debt levels that equal that or exceed the rates of for-profit college. Let me say it to you in this chart. When you look at this chart, that level of school that is $43,000 is pretty much for anyone that's basically at least by the good standard, but really elite or ultra elite. But what we know, because we've talked about it, is that we don't have black families that are working age, that are anywhere really above the boomerhood level, the little average level. Before you say, well, there aren't white families, we know that almost 15 million white families are above the elite level. Those are the people that's supposed to pay for that tuition. So what is that telling you? College is for people that get wealth transfers. That's what it's telling you. College is for people that get wealth transfers. And I'm not talking about $100 here or $1,000 there or a plus loan. I'm talking about, can you give me $50,000 right now? Do you got $75,000 in an account? So y'all got to get these white friends y'all eat lunch with to tell you the truth. They got to start telling you, like if you're going to be my friend, just tell me the truth. Tell me the truth about the inheritance and the trust fund and the retirement account. Let's stop having this friendship where we just eat and then we talk about Jay-Z concert. Or Beyonce's new album is out, Homecoming. Y'all heard about it? I'll be talking about it Friday. Y'all can tune in. But I just wanted to call in for a second and tell you, when you look at this chart, there's an X in every level that we don't have 5% in. We have 20 million families. I just want to see 1 million families to get the X off. We know that we only have a few thousand ultra-elite families. We know that we only have, what? We only have 340,000 or so black families above the elite level. Those are the people that can pay Howard money, $43,000. See, that's the Howard level. But we don't have a 340,000 families, mostly boomers, that have middle-aged children that are more leaning towards my age or Yvette's age. What about the good level? Well, we know only 5% of black families are above 350 hard. Again, mostly boomers because of their retirement. They have middle-aged children. So what are working-age people that have nothing saved, still carrying student debt, going to do? How are they resolving that their kids are about to go to Howard? What are they doing with the Spelman lady said? She said she drove 8 hours, got to Spelman. It was just a matter of organization while she still got student loans, and her daughter is maxed out the first day she steps on the campus. They're just making it up, being fantastical, talking crazy. This is a reckoning moment. Now I'm telling you, most of y'all marriages, relationships with your parents, relationships with your children will fall apart if you don't sit down and start dealing with the reality of blackness and start demanding of this government, demanding of this nation that it treats you like an American. I just wanted to shoot in real quick. Thanks.
Appreciate it, Tom. And see the thing that I said when Antonio would talk and I were talking earlier. Antonio was like, listen, like, you know, colleges are people who have wealth transfers. And for me, the main thing is, why don't we have wealth transfers? Like, that's the thing that you got to deal with. You can't just be like, well, let's make college free or let's find a way. No, you got to, every area of ADOS life is anchored in the fact that we don't get what we should get. Like, we don't get wealth transfers, and that traces all the way back to slavery. That's why reparations is key. And that's why it hadn't gained traction until now, because nobody had really made that case. There's a reason why the question isn't like, well, how can we make college cheaper at Howard? The question for me is like, why can't Howard kids pay it? And you can trace that all the way back to reparations and Reconstruction, the failure of Reconstruction. We should be able to pay that. We can't because we haven't been made American. We haven't been able to flourish in the land of the free and home of the brave. So that is mine. That is my pivot point in terms of this discussion. I'm going to my next call. I'm going to 760. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hi, Yvette. I'm Marlon, calling from Oceanside, California.
What's going on, Marlon?
Just listen to the show, listen to what Tony has to say, and if you don't do what he's saying, you're going to leave us to slavery, like he always likes to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like you have Tiger Woods, you also have the college debt crisis and all that stuff like that, and we're all in the bottom of that. So there's no escaping it.
No.
It's not like, if you're gonna think you'd be fantastical about it, like he says, at this point I'm gonna say you're damn stupid, because if you can't understand what's going on, there is something wrong with you, and you're either a grifter lying to everyone and trying to make it, or you're the worst person that could possibly in the history of the world. Because if you see bad things happening and do nothing about it, you're just as bad as the person that's doing it.
Thanks, fam. I appreciate the call. I think you're right. You are pretty bad. I'm gonna try to get to some other calls, but I think I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree. You're pretty bad. Like, and I think part of what's happened in our community is that we have an inability now to kind of see bad people, because we've made so much of life about getting money. So as long as you get money, we can't really see what your inside looks like. We can't really see what your values look like. We're not going to assess whether or not you are a good or a bad person, or whether we share values because, well, they get money, I want to get with them. I want to get money like they get. And it's just like, no, like, we have to talk about money in terms of wealth as a collective, not in terms of an individual who got away. Like little escape goats. Well, the little goat, man, he got away. Good for him. No, this is a community. We are a community. So I am going now to 404 or 404. I'm going to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
What's going on, Yvette? My name is Dylan. I'm from Jersey, but I live in Atlanta.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much. I just wanted to speak about that mom that had tried to send her daughter to Spelman when she was in debt. Basically, I was pretty much in the same situation myself. I graduated from high school in 2012. Basically, Tuskegee offered me money, but my family was so, like, they wanted me to go to Morehouse so bad, right? So I went to Morehouse. I got a couple of scholarships. Sally made loan because I'm boomer hooked because of my uncle. And I got financial aid because of my dad, you know, or, you know, you can use either parent. So I went to Morehouse. So, like, I didn't do the best, you know, it was kind of hard to get into it, but I was doing okay. But, like, my dad passed away. And, you know, so there was no more financial aid, you know, no more loans. So I dropped out of school. I tried to start my own cell phone repair shop. In the meantime, I did go to Boyce's little business school, but that was a side note. But I started my own cell phone repair shop, but it was a lack of wealth and capital that really prevented me from, you know, being able to succeed in that business. And not only that, it was on the south side of Atlanta, but, like, not only that, my friends and everybody that was around me, like, they were contagious to what I had going on, because I'm a college dropout, but they're looking to me for advice to teach them how to fix cell phones. I'm talking to the customers. I'm the only person that ever worked a job in customer service. So, like, we're talking about, like, I don't really have any real skills to teach anybody. You see what I'm saying? I'm still trying to learn on my own. And everybody was looking towards me for help and towards to, like, try to build up this business. But, like, I didn't, so it like, basically failed because I didn't have the wealth or capital. And then, you know, we fast forward to now, I got some IT certifications. You know, I make an income, but I'm not, you know, it's like I still got student loans. I'm 24. I'm at a point where I can go back to school now and use my own income. But they said my mom used to make too much money, so it's like,
oh,
and
wow.
we don't have any wealth. She went to Rutgers. She still has debt, you know. So I really resonate with the movement because it represents everything that happens in my life, you know. So
well, it represents the reality of ADOS life. Like, the movement represents the reality of ADOS life. It doesn't represent the reality of throwing on dashikis and talking about every brown country on the globe and how every brown country has been impacted by whiteness. It represents a very specific group. And if you're going to have a justice claim, you have to represent a specific group and specific life. And I think one of the fundamentally wonderful things about this show is the callers, like you. Like, it's not me just talking to you about what the data suggests. It's also me talking. It's also people calling in and say, yes, this is my life. This is not something, this is the data. Of course the data is right. This is my life. And so I think that's what we were able to do. You know, a lot of people want to globe trot and run around and wear red, black, and green. And I'm over here now, and I'm over here now talking to the brothers here, the sisters here. We're talking about fixing what has harmed us in this country and locked us out of Americanness. Charity begins at home. Don't run around. What you're really doing is running away because you're lazy and you don't want to deal with the hard work of dealing with white supremacy in America. Not just like anywhere else. We're talking about America. It's vicious. We have lived it. We have been a minority in this country and dealt with it. Y'all don't want to deal with it, so you run around and wear dashikis. You're cowards. This is what it is. So let's, you know, it is what it is. So I'll let you have the last word, fam.
No, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I was the one who posted the books on Twitter. And I posted the books because it's like I haven't read for fun since I was young, reading Harry Potter books or whatever, you know, the little book fairs we had when I was young. But now it's like I'm at a point where I'm reading for fun and I'm really enjoying this. Like, and boys, I read Powernomics, and Powernomics was a good book, don't get me wrong, but we're really making a case right now, you know, and you
got to put all the books together. You can't just read one book. You got to put all the books together. You can't just read one book. You got to put all the books together, because all the books make the case. The books, when you string them together, they all make the case. They make the case like, okay, this is it. I got it. Like, you have to make the case. You can't just anchor yourself in one book.
That's why we got your back.
I appreciate it, fam. You know I appreciate it, because they've been coming. They wild, and they got their little claws out and their little paws, and they scratching around. But it ain't gonna work. They scratching my skin. They ain't got no stitches. So I appreciate it, fam. Y'all better keep appreciate it. Y'all better keep y'all little kitten paws off me. You ever had a kid to scratch you and their little nails ain't in good, and they just kind of grabbing at you, and you just like, oh, you so cute. That's how I feel. Kitten paws. 678, I'm coming to you. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing, Yvette?
Pretty good. How about you?
I'm calling from Syracuse.
Oh, what's going on, Syracuse?
I'm on the, all right, I'm on the, you know, you were talking about Tiger Woods earlier.
Uh-huh.
And I've been listening to you for a while, and, you know, I have donated, you know, so I say that. But
I appreciate it.
You know, one of the things that you've always mentioned is exclusion is as important as inclusion.
Yeah.
And yeah, so all right, now you were talking about Tiger Woods. I believe the problem is how we view Tiger Woods or who we might want him to be. You know, but he can't really rep the ADOS code. I mean, you mentioned about him being honest. You know, you told him to be honest. He is being honest. And he's not running from us or blackness or racelessness or anything. He didn't make up a race. He told us the race that he is. He told us the race that he is made up of.
But neither one of his parents is Caucasian. Like, what are you talking?
Say that again.
Neither one of his parents is Caucasian, and he said Coblin Asian.
Yeah, Caucasian, black, Indian, Asian.
No, he has a Thai mother and a black father.
He can't rep. He can't rep us. He can't rep the black.
Well, stop repping him. Like, listen, that's fine.
I mean, we got that Kamala. We got that Kamala, right? Talk about, you can't rep this. It's not up to you to rep this. We have to do that. It's
no, but that's, listen. Hold on, I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. But let me just say this. If you can't rep me, I can't rep you. Like, listen, if you can't rep me, if you don't play for my team, I'm not wearing your jersey. That's fine. Like, but here's the thing. Don't rep me when you on the come up. When you coming up, don't talk about how people don't let you play golf because you black. If you don't want to rep me, don't have Nike do an ad about how you can't play golf because you black. If you don't want to rep me, I can't rep you. I don't rep Tiger. I ain't never rep Tiger. I'm not.
I don't either. But he can't rep us. And he ain't all black. He also Caucasian, Indian, and Asian. I mean, look at his mama. Yvette. My mama don't look like that. Neither do yours.
Well, just say that.
His son. I mean,
say I'm Thai and black.
The children that look like that, Yvette.
Well, say I'm Thai and black.
Most of NBA players. Hold on. Say that again.
I say I'm Thai and I'm black. Say when somebody asks you what race you are, say I'm biracial. I have a Thai mother and I have a black father.
He did say that.
No, he said I'm Cobbling Asian. He threw everything in there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Even most NBA players just like him. They grow up with advantage. They grow up similar backgrounds. They grow up middle, upper class, or even their father played in the NBA. And we ain't asking them to rep like that. I'm saying we don't have to rep them. But it's the thing with black people always wanting him to claim black. He can't claim black.
I just don't know. I just don't want to. No, listen to me clearly, fam. Listen to me very clearly. If he don't, I don't care what this weird little man claims. If he don't claim me, though, I don't claim him. And I have a problem with him talking about race and the golf courses when he was trying to get put on and Nike was doing those ads. If you want to be a raceless man or...
that's real for him, though, Yvette. He was talking... Yvette, I saw the Oprah interview. He was talking about when he was a little boy, he was getting racism from white folks.
But he stopped talking about it, didn't he?
He still can't rep ADOS fat.
Well, he has an ADOS father. How come he can't rep... Wait. How come he can't rep ADOS? He got an ADOS daddy he can't rep? He would get reparations. He would get reparations because he has an ADOS father. How come he can't rep? Tell me why he can't rep. His daddy ain't real?
No, his daddy real, but his daddy is the one who provided that life for him that he can't rep. Having him out there in California in a 98% upper middle class or upper class environment. That's just like most NBA players come from.
So you saying his daddy's a sellout? You saying his daddy's a sellout?
Do I think his father's a sellout?
That sounds like what you said to me. You saying his daddy went out there and took him away from blackness. What are you saying about his daddy? You saying his daddy went out there in California and took him away from black people and blackness, and that's why he can't rep. I just want you to be clear to me what you're saying.
Yeah, that's a whole generation did that. That's success for a whole generation is to move out of blackness. Blackness is something people grow out of. People don't want to stay black. People want to. That's what black Americans want to do. Is come up and get away from black. You talk about you can't go back to the hood. That's like saying you can't validate black no more when you get to a certain level. Black is something people want to grow out of.
You can't. Though.
I mean, so his father. Whatever his father's philosophy is, but his father is the one who put him there and provided that life for him, and his father is the one who impregnated his 100% Taiwan mother. My mother don't look like that. My mother, my folks from Georgia and Alabama. They moved to Syracuse. I mean, he can't rep. I mean, it's us looking at him. It's us looking at him and other people who have black and white. Now, we place more value on people who only have black.
Let me just say this, man. We're gonna have a discussion.
We want them to take that flag, but he can't take that flag.
Hold on. We're gonna have a discussion because I don't buy into the idea that I don't think all biracial people would agree with anything you're saying. I know biracial people that identify as black, and they hold on. Hey, listen.
Their parents ain't black though, regardless of what.
What?
Regardless of what, both of their parents ain't black. They can identify as whatever. But you can't tell somebody if they got a black parent that they not black because they got a. What are you, a purist? Right, but what we tell Tiger Woods though? What we tell Tiger? And then Yvette, you went home calling this man awful and all this. What you doing that for, Yvette?
Why are you standing for this man? You don't know this man. Why are you standing for this man? Why you being a fanboy on my show?
That man can't rep for us.
what's on him and what ain't on him. Stop making excuses for this dude. It is on him. He got a black daddy who went
for ADOS. How is he gonna have any political cause or any political voice for ADOS? That's not his reality. He gotta speak to he gotta live his reality, and we gotta live ours. He got a Taiwan. His mother's from Taiwan.
He got a black daddy. He got a black daddy. Stop just talking about the mama.
Yeah, and a Taiwan mother. But we created out of a mother and a father, though.
Yeah, but you don't talk about the daddy. You keep talking about the mama.
I got an ADOS mother. I got an ADOS mother.
But he got an ADOS daddy. And what, Negro? He got an ADOS daddy.
Tiger Woods can't rep for me. Tiger Woods can't rep for me with an ADOS mother and father.
Dude, you're a purist. I appreciate your thought.
How could he do that anyway?
I don't know what you're talking about. I think you kind of view like you have to have an ADOS mother and daddy. Like I don't know like what you're talking about. I don't. This is a mess.
No, what I'm talking about is Yvette, he can't. You're saying his politics don't match up with ours. You saying something about HBCUs, and you should say something about that.
I never said that. I never said that.
HBCUs.
I never said that.
Money to play golf.
I never said that.
You gotta have money to play golf, and
I never said that.
I never said he said. You said when they talk.
Are you gonna overtalk me this whole conversation? Are you gonna overtalk me? Because you can leave. You can't overtalk me. This is not gonna happen.
No, ma'am.
I never said he should rep HBCUs. I said that in order for us to rep him, he has to rep us. I said I don't rep Tiger Woods because Tiger Woods decided he used to talk about how he was going to be the black Michael Jordan. He used to talk about how he gets treated bad in the South because he comes from slavery. But when he stops repping me, I stop repping him. And I said it and I meant it that the people who are online all week talking about Tiger Woods have a problem. I don't rep Tiger Woods, and I don't think anybody should rep Tiger Woods. And I also say this man has an ADOS daddy. Stop saying like his Taiwanese mama. He has two parents, and he's decided to anchor himself in something else that's not even Taiwanese. It would even be different to me if he anchored himself in a Thai culture. He's anchored himself in whiteness. He has basically abandoned us and said, I don't want no parts of us, even though Nike used him to build us up. That's what I'm saying. Now I'll let you have the last 20 seconds of this conversation.
How did he abandon us when he's not us? It's not for him to be us. That's what I've been saying the whole time, Yvette. He's not black. Mixed children are confused a lot of times. He got a rep being a mixed child, being a confused mixed child. His mother and his children are not all mothers and all children. And so we can't ask him to take that flag.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate it. And it was a good call. I mean, I don't know about that. But here's what I'll say. Like, you can't speak. If you're not mixed, you can't speak for mixed people either. Like, stop speaking for mixed people. Like, stop speaking for biracial people. Like, you can't speak for this. Like, you can't just X out that person's ADO. And Tiger used to be very clear about his blackness. It's not like he got confused when the money got big. He wasn't always confused about blackness. This is just stupid to say like he was always, and mixed people just be confused. That's not always. We had mixed people that went into like KKK meetings to send information back to the NAACP. Stop saying that because but these people were mixed that they're automatically always confused and that they can't rep for us and you got to understand what he do. We don't know Tiger Woods. We don't know and I don't care to know him. And I don't have this purist view. Like, no, like, he's biracial, so he just can't rep for us. No, nobody wants to hold him accountable. And if you don't rep for us, why are you repping for him? Why do we rep for him? Act like we know this man and what's going on in his mind and see he had a mama and we don't know this man. I just know if he don't rep for me, I don't rep for him, and I don't know why he was on y'all's Twitter. I don't know. I'm going to my last call, going to 206. 206, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hello, Yvette. How you doing? This is Mario Matthews from Seattle, Washington.
Hey, Mario. I'm pretty good. How about you?
Oh, my goodness. Man. That last call.
Grow out of blackness. Who gonna grow out of blackness? God, dog. Grow out of blackness. That's some stuff I ain't never. Grow out of blackness. You can try it if you want to.
Say it again?
I said people can try it if you want. Remember when Tiger Woods got arrested and they put black in there? See how black caught up with him? You can run away from blackness if you want to, but go on, fam. I'm sorry. But a lot of people try to. He's right in that sense. A lot of people try to. Tracy Ellis Ross, I talked about. Like we've talked about a lot of people who. But go on, Carl. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I understand the frustration. Look, all we saying, I'm gonna just say this for the Tiger Woods situation because I want to talk about education, but I'll say this for the Tiger Woods situation. When you stand in front of a white supremacist and they use you as a black person against the rest of us, regardless of how you identify yourself, and you allow them to do so, then by definition, you are not one of us.
And should be treated as such.
ADOS is a lineage claim, okay? I don't care what you identify yourself as. You cannot erase that part of your history because, I just want to do so. No, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, if you're going to let other people use you for their causes and their purposes, you know, however devious or insidious they may be, and you're going to allow that to happen against the people who bled, fought, and died for you to have the opportunity that you currently take advantage of, then by definition, you ain't one of us.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
And we don't rep you. We don't have to rep you no more. We don't have to share no tweets. We don't have to celebrate your masters. We can be done. But we don't know how to be done. One of the problems that we have, fam, honestly, as a group, is that we don't know how to be finished with people. We always let people come back in the back door. Well, I don't think they like that no more. I think they finally understood. No, you got to know how to be finished. You got to know how to be done. I'm going to let you finish up, Colin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just have one last thing to say. 2 days ago, I actually had the opportunity to ask a question to Obama's top advisor, Valerie Jarrett. I actually put that on my Facebook.
Oh, that was you?
Someone talked about it.
That was you?
That was me. That was me. I
Bravo!
asked her question,
Bravo!
and that was her response. Oh, go ahead.
I said bravo, bravo.
I'd just like to say one thing about that, and I'll let the everything goes. Look, as far as I'm concerned, they are either this is purposeful, or some people are just too ignorant to understand what's going on. Okay.
I don't think they're ignorant. She grew up in Iran.
When you said once before, Yvette, that every generation we are attempting to be re-enslaved. Mm-hmm. Okay?
Yeah.
Our society, or, these white supremacist agendas within our country are attempting to re-enslave us every generation. Okay? When she sat on that stage and she told us that she would rather have education for our children than reparations for the descendants of American slavery or American descendants of slaves. When she told us that, she essentially told us that she would rather condemn her children to slavery because that was
hold on, fam.
That is.
Hold on, fam. Not her children. Like Valerie Jarrett is good. She has connections to a slumlord. She spent time. I think she was either born or raised part of the time in Iran. Her children aren't going to be there. It's the ADOS family, our kids. She's opted out. And so since these people have opted out, they don't care what happens to us. And that's what's happened. They don't care what happens to us because their families are good. Their families are good. They don't care what happens to the rest of us. And they try to sell us books. You don't get to sell me no book when you don't want my debt to be paid. Send that book to the bottom of the bestsellers list. Make it not appear. We got to know. I don't want to go buy your book. I don't want to go buy Michelle Obama's book. I don't want to buy none of y'all's books. This is horrible. This is horrible. And let me say this for fam before I forget. Please, before you, while the chat is still up, please link to that tweet in the chat so that everybody else can see the tweet that you put out and what happened so that they have some context of what we're talking about. Please just link your tweet in the chat and post it so that people can see it and share it. But finish up for me, fam. I'm sorry.
You're hitting the nail on the head. That's really the only thing I have to say is we have to understand when people are insulting us in our face, and it is very disrespectful to understand the history that we have in this country. Our ability to persevere under these very tough conditions, and we still have people out here you know what I'm saying, trying to throw the next generation under the bus. It's treacherous and it's treasonous. I don't know if it's intentional or not. I can't say whether or not it's intentional. But I know that when you have people who are supposed to be your advocates, throwing the next generation under the bus, that's totally treasonous to me. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Yvette, I love you.
Love you back,
Get
fam.
better, okay? You coughing a lot.
I still got just a little cough.
Okay?
Just a little cough.
Don't push yourself too much, all right?
I appreciate
And
it.
you have a good night.
All right, thanks, fam. Yeah, this brother, like we holding people accountable. People who want to come to our communities and sell stuff and sell their wares with us and make sure that and sell what they have. And I got this and I'm trying to sell a book, but you don't even want us to have our debt paid. But you don't care because you and your kids are good and you showed your history early on, Valerie Jarrett. We saw that with you and the slumlord and everything that happened. We're very clear on who you are. And we're very clear on what your thing is. We're very clear on that. So I really, part of the thing, I think we have to be clear on everybody. I'm gonna take one last call. 323, where you calling from? What's your name? What's on your mind?
Hello, am I finally in? Is this me?
Yeah, you on, fam. What's going on?
Excellent. Hi, this is Dominique Dejean Craig. I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on your Twitter page.
Okay.
And I want to talk to you about something. I left a comment on there. Now, I think this is very important, okay? They are going to come with this new attack against American, ADOS. The attack is they're going to call us anti-immigrant. They're trying to say that because we want reparations, that we are somehow anti-immigrant. Now, I don't know what the two things have to do with each other, but the attacks are on the way. They're coming. They're already coming on social media, and I'm already having to check people on Twitter and also a few other places about this very topic. Now, we don't have no solidarity. There ain't no such thing as people of color, okay? It's just us. It's just us. And black people no longer have time to carry water for other ethnic groups who have been brought here to exploit the resources of our community and don't even like us. That's what Blexit is all about. I don't know if you're familiar with Blexit.
That's the right-wing thing.
That's what I wanted to say. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay. No, I appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in. Listen, the thing is, I don't think people understand what this is. I've been attacked frequently for being anti-immigrant. And see, the thing is, the expectation is that we're supposed to be mules as ADOS people, as opposed to, having thoughts independent of, it's funny, Blexit came out, one of the people in Blexit came out with an ADOS is garbage article of their own. So it's not oh, Yvette's right wing. No, the people, Blexit hates us too. It's not, no. What we're trying to do is come up, what I'm trying to do as an individual, is try to figure out what policies across the board are best. Now ADOS is very specifically targeted to a black agenda and reparations. I myself individually have a very big vision in terms of what has to happen in terms of us to be okay. But anything that we do outside of just free open borders will be considered anti-immigrant. And we just have to be, those attacks are going to come because you're not expected to be free. It's not just about being free from slavery. We're not expected to be free in terms of being free in terms of our thought processes, in terms of being free in terms of how we choose what politics is best for us. We're supposed to be mules for either the Democratic or the Republican Party. We're supposed to pick a party and be their mule. And so what happens when we decide we're not going to be mules anymore? When we're not going to be mules anymore, what happens is that people get very upset. I'm not xenophobic, but you see this Prince Ojo or whatever his name was, who asked that question at CNN about should Africans and African Americans, to Marion Williamson in the town hall. You've been very forthright about Africans and African Americans getting reparations. Well, it was never about Africans because they don't have a justice claim in this country in terms of coming from slavery and building the rich country in the world. But then he says I'm Pan-Africanist and we're not each other's enemies. We're here for each other. But then you go and check his tweets and he calls us an Akata, and he tells African women if you're dating an Akata or an Oyimbo, which is a white person, then you're not dating anybody. And just kind of negates, and in that moment, ADOS men, but just in general, calling us Akata. At a time which people say, we don't use the word Akata. We never use that. And nobody calls out this anti-ADOS rhetoric in terms of how they use it and what they use it for. This is about a justice claim. And when you talk about a justice claim, of course it's divisive because I'm not including you. This justice claim is specific to ADOS, so it is inherently divisive because it doesn't include all people of color. And the way you're going to come at me is just like, well, Yvette's on the board of right-wingers. No, I'm one of like 3 ADOS people on that board. And what I talk about is citizenship. What can we do? What kind of studies? But don't nobody want to do that. Everybody wants us to be a mule. And you see all these people coming out because they don't want us to think freely and kind of decide for ourselves, like, what is best for us? What kind of policies are good for us? Reparations or whatever. What? Like, let me just think this through. Now, they can go be on Soros boards and all that kind of stuff, and they can go get Soros-funded Media Matters to attack us, and that's not supposed to be a problem. They can go to Billionaire Daddy and get them to attack us, but it's supposed to be like, but you're not supposed to be around white people. And it's just like, no, I'm going to be around whoever I need to be around to do what's best for ADOS. Akata means wild animal. This guy who was asking the question to CNN Town Hall about reparations has previously on his Twitter account used the term Akata as a derogatory term about, like, if you're an African woman and you're dating an Akata or you're dating an Oyimbo, if you're dating a black African American ADOS person, because we don't use the African American term anymore. If you're dating an ADOS or a white person, you're not dating anybody. And Akata means wild animal. And you can't tell me that you're my ally and call me a wild animal at the same time. It doesn't work that way. And so that's kind of what we're faced with as we go forward. These people who are kind of talking with this forked tongue and being duplicitous, right? And so, like, nobody wants to check them. Everybody just wants to fall in on us because everybody is trying to, even these people who pose as black radicals, they basically say you can only do things with Democrats ever. Well, that means you're a proxy or pawn of this Democratic Party. I'm not a pawn for any party. I don't adhere to Republican right-wingerism. We just had a whole show trashing, like, Tiger Woods for being in bed with Trump. Like, I'm not, wherever I see anti-ADOS-ness, that's where I go. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to not talk about either party. I'm going to talk about Republicans, but Democrats don't get a pass. Nobody gets a pass with me, and that's the problem. Understand that, like, this guy had a name for ADOS as Akata. We don't have a name that we call Africans. We don't have a insult. People are like, well, y'all called us African booty scratchers as kids. Listen, as a kid, we all got made fun of. Everybody got made fun of for whatever your trait was. Whatever trait that made you stand out. So my trait was I was lighter skinned. So that was if you were a fat kid, you got made fun of for being fat. If you were a kid with a strong accent, you got made fun of for that. If you were a kid with a big head or a big nose, you got made. That's what happened to kids. That's not we have no generalized term though where we make fun of Africans. We don't do that to you, and y'all do that to us too much. And that's what this guy's tweet showed. So we have to be true. We have to tell the truth when we're having this conversation. We bring our black immigrant friends home for Thanksgiving. We don't have no names for y'all. We don't call y'all nothing. We accept you. But what's happening here in terms of what we saw with that dude who called us Akata and then said, well, I'm for Pan-Africanism. We're not enemies. You my enemy when you call me Akata, bro. Like, when you call me a name or a derogatory term, and we grown. You're not calling me a name in first grade. We got a problem. So, fam, that's it for the show tonight. I apologize to anybody I didn't get to in the comments. Please don't forget to get your hotel because there's an arts festival that's going to be in town in the same time as the conference, and it's a really big arts festival that I hear. So please try to get your hotel and get that. And these are the kind of these are the sponsor ones here. So please, I'm gonna try to make that bigger so that you can see. Please try to get your hotel early because once that conference gets in there, I don't know what's gonna happen. I think things might fill up kind of quick. So I'm just putting that out there to you. So that you know, I know people are like, oh my God, I thought I had time and I ain't have time, and I thought I had time and so, and those are reduced rates from the regular rate of the hotel. So, please, fam, do that. And that is our show for today. It's always a lot, but time permits, fam. I'm not gonna promise because I wanted to do a pop-up show last week and it didn't happen, so I'm not promising nothing, but something might happen. Anyway, fam. Finish up your libations. Hit the like button. And we will talk soon. You can go to subscribetobrown.com. You can go to donatebrown.com. Don't forget, if you want to know more about what we stand for, go to ADOS101.com. If you want a shirt, go to ADOSmerch.com. And you know, we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep pushing. It just is what it is. People keep trying to stop us, but it's not going to stop us. We're on the march now, and it ain't going nowhere. And so, we here. So, I'll see you all next time, fam.